Happy February 16th. A nice rainy day after a snowy day yesterday. Today we're taking the Tesla to URI, University of Rhode Island. We're going to check out and see how it drives around some of those areas and some of those parking lots. So I'm going to put it in a full self-driving mode. I've got a little loop programmed already. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and start the FSD. And this is a Tesla Model Y 2024. I've got the Model Y to program from Park, so I was able to just pull down the lever. And we're going to see we're just one block away from URI, University of Rhode Island, Route 138 here. We're coming up to a red light. This is a full self-driving demonstration. No hands, no feet. Going to go down to the University of Rhode Island. The college students are going to be the future legislators, lawmakers, safety personnel, and engineers. I think it's important that they also get exposed, the college students get exposed, along with the politicians and the lawmakers, to the technology. So I'm just going to drive through here, make a video for, they may or may not choose to use it for their local newspaper here at the university. But last weekend, I was able to pick up a college graduate up in Boston and drive all the way back to Rhode Island. We did about 5 hours in the car from Rhode Island over to Newport, from East Greenwich to Narragansett, back to Newport, all the way to Boston, back from Boston, East Greenwich, and back to Narragansett without ever touching the wheel. And here we are so far, rainy day, snowy conditions. We pulled into the University of Rhode Island here on Upper College Road, and we just want to see how it's doing. Again, no hands. My car did just get updated to the software version 13.2.7. I had 13.26 for about one day. So as you notice, we four-way stop. It stopped beautiful. Don't have a lot of traffic right now. It is Sunday. But as you can see, the roads are wet. The conditions are overcast. It's actually raining pretty good. We have a speed bump right here, sleeping policeman as we call them, and it slowed down, and notice that transition, which is really nice. It didn't just barrel through it. Here comes another crosswalk speed bump. We slowed down, took it beautiful, just like a human would. You see here on the screen, it saw the car that crossed in front of me at the red light. We have a pedestrian over here to the right. You can see that little guy, girl, over here on the screen. She's running the crosswalk, but the car is turning. Now, I just put some random locations in here. So I put this location in here, and it drove me perfectly. It's going to let me out. If this was an Uber or a Cybercab. So let's go up to our next location. So let's go up to our next location. I don't think can it drive through here or not? Maybe. It's going to. The gate's up. So I'm assuming it's the gate's up. We can drive through here today. We got another crosswalk. Actually never driven through here. That gate's never been up. But let's see where it takes us. Last night I was driving around in the snow and it saw some of these snow berms as obstacles and it would stop. So here we're kind of driving in the parking spot where the cars would park. It doesn't really, not unsafe, but I wouldn't really do this if I was driving here. It's kind of driving a little bit on the yellow. Again, I don't think this car has ever been here before. Well, I know my car has never been here before, so I'm not sure how much it learns or each time you do it. Here we're going out through another gate that's up, so I'm assuming that we're able to drive in that way. See what happens. We got a little rotary here. Very interesting. I might come back when the students are out because there will be a lot of pedestrians in this area, which would give us a good feel for the campus too. Coming up to another stop sign. Again, zero intervention so far. We got a car approaching on the left, but it has a stop sign. The car's going to go, just like I would do. Got some meltwater here. You can see the car approaching. Got another crosswalk. It sees it on the screen. There's no pedestrians, so I didn't feel a need to stop. I think it's taking us over to the Emporium now. I just dropped a couple of pins to give us a little tour to see how this would, if an Uber was to bring me to a URI and I wanted to have my students picked up or dropped off. But here we had a four-way stop, waited for the traffic. We have a car approaching on our right. It waited fine. So it looks like we're going into, yeah, it got a little indecision. It's didn't sure. A little snow berm right there. Again, that's these are these edge cases that, you know, Tesla has about 6 months on this software now. So it doesn't like those snow berms. I haven't learned those yet. It thinks it's a curve. I think this is completely a vision-based system. So as the neural network learns what the snowbanks are, I don't think it's going to hesitate like that. So I guess this is the post office. Again, I just dropped random pins. Trying to do a little three-point turn to get out of the parking lot here. So we had one intervention, but again, we're going to see it again. I don't know if you can see it here, but the snow has been left in a pile right here at this entrance. And so the car was kind of concerned that it might have been a curve. It's just stopped a little bit again here. So it's trying to figure out which way to go. Teaching itself. It's really interesting. If you watch the blue line here on the screen, you can see the intelligence of the car trying to figure out what it's supposed to do. Okay, so we're going to pull in here. Again, I think it wanted to go up one more. I call it like the RoboVac. I have a RoboVac that my better half bought. It kind of cruises around the house and it keeps just going in a direction until it finds where it wants to go, and it eventually does your whole house. So the car here has brought me over to the back parking lot. Let's see how it does. It's meandering around some cones. And you got to remember, most parking lots are unmapped. They're not on Google. So when it's in a parking lot like this, the car has to use its intelligence and its brain. So it dropped me off at my next location. It's saying, okay, hey, here we're here. If you're in a RoboCab or a taxi, we'd be at, what is this, Higgins Welcome Center. Let's go off to our next one. And I'm doing this on purpose in the bad weather. I'm really out of interventions when it comes to good weather. I'm purposely doing this in the rain with snow on the ground. Like we have a big blob of snow. I don't know if the camera can pick it up right here. It's about the size of 3 footballs. And the car detects it and is trying to figure out what to do. Now, if this was me, I'd just drive over that son of a gun. But it's probably going to go around it here. Or it might say I got an obstruction in the way. Let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead and let it think. What does it do with this snow? I'm going to see it says object in the path, so it says take over to proceed. So that's what I'm going to do. I just gave it some gas to let it know that I'm okay with it doing that. So now it's going. Will it go through these posts? Let's take a look. Now I got a pedestrian over here. I'm going to let it know that it can go through these posts. So I just gave it a little bit of gas to, it was thinking, it was not sure what to do with the snow on the ground. So this technology, I'm calling it 92% of where it needs to be for the future. We want to be at 100%, of course. But we are having these cases where the snow, like this is the first winter with the software, so it hasn't taught itself this yet. So we have the snow, sometimes the cameras get a little too dirty to be able to drive, and unmapped parking lots. It has a little bit of indecision, but 92% of the time in reasonable weather, that it's fine. And here again, I'm not feeling unsafe because it's actually being more cautious than it needs to be. It just stopped and let a car, made sure the car was stopped at the stop sign on our left. It cannot understand the difference between a ball of snow in the road and a football or a child or something. So right now I'm glad that it stops for the snow. Eventually, I think the cameras and the technology it's going to recognize the snow as a piece of ice, and it's going to try and avoid it just in case it is a ball of ice instead of soft snow. Here, looks like it's dropping us off at one of the dorms. Again, I just put in some random pins here. So here it pulled up to our next pin. Beautiful. So let's see what it does. I think it's going to have to back up to get out of this parking lot. I'm not sure if there's a way out. Now we got a pedestrian here on the left. You can see the pedestrian. It sees it. It's stopping for the pedestrian to make sure we don't scare him. Okay, we have more snow in the ground. If you see it right here, it's taking this little bit of snow. Is something in the way. So I'm just going to give it a little gas, let it know that it's okay to proceed. And this is exactly what I think it should do in the beginning. Before, that snow is just a white line that the cameras are seeing. It could be a curve. So we need more mileage and more data for more Teslas driving around to get the data so it knows the difference between snow and a curb. So I'm not calling those interventions because they're not saying the technology solved for that yet. Again, they switched from software-based system back in June to a fully AI neural network. So this is operating fully on vision and AI. The cameras are taking in just like the human eye, and it's being processed like a brain in a neural network, and it's teaching itself. So right now, I would actually say this is probably better than a teenage driver. I would say actually on the highways, this drives me back and forth to work. I commute an hour and 10 minutes each way, so about 2 hours every day. And it's doing that 19, 20, 30 times before I have to intervene in some type of situation. So I would actually say this is a pretty mature driver right now. Now we just got to teach it those edge cases. So here we are, raining hard now. You can probably hear it in the camera. Here's another speed bump. Is it going to slow down for the speed bump? Yes. It recognizes the speed bump. That's just beautiful. A couple of versions ago, it would just barrel along and bam, you hit that speed bump. But, okay, we had another speed bump coming up. Let's see how it does. That car just went around the speed bump, so sometimes humans do things that they're not supposed to do either. So here we are, slowing down. Great. And it's almost a snow-covered speed bump. That's the second speed bump. It handled 100% perfectly. Here we go with another one. Another speed bump. Perfect. Excellent. Stop there. Okay, I just stopped for a second. I had to check my camera. My battery's about dead. Looks like we're still recording. So it stopped the stop sign. It took the left turn. We've handled every speed bump. So the only problems we've had on this drive so far are snow left over in the road. Here comes some snow that's sticking out in the road. Car's just going to avoid it a little bit. Beautiful. Now again, the technology, the reason why I'm so excited about this is I can see what it's going to do for our elderly population, where you're not going to have to take their keys away from the elderly as they get inability to drive, the car is going to be able to drive themselves. I believe that, new drivers 10 years from now, you're not going to need a driver's license. Our children are going to go ahead and drive themselves. Or the car's going to take the children to their soccer games and their football games. You're not going to need to have a parent in the car. One car, I can imagine, will be able to service the whole family. As I say, in the morning, the whole family can get in the Tesla. The Tesla will drop mom off at work, then drop dad off at work, then go drop the children off at work, and then it will do it in the reverse. And it can even pick up the children from high school, take them to their softball or little league games or soccer, and then go pick up the parents at school also. So just phenomenal technology. Okay, so it brought me to the maintenance facility here at URI. Man, and look at that. So we stopped right here where we wanted to go. It's going to, I think, call it done here. I got a pedestrian behind me. So I want to make sure this pedestrian, you don't see him, but he's walking behind here on the camera. And here he goes. All right. And I think I'm going to pull up this the rest of the way. And we're going to call this one done. So here we are at the engineer's office. Excellent. Estimation. Excellent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to end the trip. We're going to head home. And let's see if it will back me up out of here. This is going to be interesting also. Let's see. Can it back us up?